We're here, ladies and gentlemen. We have waited 10 long years, but it is the last WWE pay-per-view of the decade. I hope you've had a great time and think of all the things that have happened in this decade. I mean, if you can believe it, CM Punk versus John Cena went down in 2011 at Money in the Bank. You know, when CM Punk ran away, that feels like it happened in 1936, but it happened but a few years ago. But let's not worry about that, because you can't look to the past, you've got to look forward. Or in this case, live in the present, because we are going to go through WWE TLC show, and we're going to give you what's up, and we're going to give the bad bits a down. And if you don't like it, you can kiss my ass. Only joking, just don't watch. Or watch and get mad. Do whatever you want. My name's Simon Miller, let's up those damn downs. Now, we all know the pre-show doesn't count. We've been told that time and time again, and it was even weirder here because Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo just appeared from nowhere. It was like a ghost. You were sitting down, and all of a sudden, boo! Oh, I'm getting Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo. And while this may have been the definition of 50-50 booking, I actually got a kick out of it. Aside from continuing to tease that Andrade and Zelina Vega are done, I mean, they had a big tete-for-tete when all was said and done. Here, the idea was really cool because the crowd wasn't really into this at all when they kicked off, but by the time they led to their big finish, they were chanting, "This is awesome," which meant they heard the audience and they won them over. So it's a round of applause to everybody. I still can't stand that ridiculous double stomp move when somebody is literally holding on to the ropes, meaning they could use their force to get out of the way. But again, this one shall get a pass because Mr. Tranquilo did it on the outside, meaning poor Carrillo's back and head went straight into the apron. If you don't know, that is the hardest part of the ring. But Humberto was able to fight back from this. He hit that amazing moonsault, which, by the way, was one of the best I've seen for a damn long time. And he pinned Andrade for the 1, 2, 3. That's when Zelina and Andrade were having a big fight. He stormed off going, "I don't want anything anymore." I tell you, for a pre-show contest, this was all good. TLC then began properly, and it was the New Day taking on the Revival. And I'm just going to say it like this. If you are going to do this match for the 1 millionth time, this is the way you get away with it, by doing it for the 1 millionth time. The thing we never talk about when we're ranting and raving about WWE is that when they do a stipulation match like this, usually they smash it out of the park, and that is exactly what Dash, Dawson, Big E, and Kofi Kingston did. I mean, at one point, Big E got suplexed off the top rope onto a ladder, but his trailing leg then went smashing into another ladder. That must have hurt. There's no way that was supposed to happen. Kingston was great here as well, flying out of nowhere with a tornado DDT and appearing on the ladder like he'd just been chilling on the ropes over here and then realized, oh, I can jump on and stop the Revival from winning. And by the time Big E was given a big ending off the top of the ladder to the floor, either Dash or Dawson, I'm not going to lie, I can't remember, I thought we were in for a big treat. It came to a head when Dawson and Kofi were on top of the ladder and Kingston just took a belt and chucked it right into his face. That meant he took quite a large fall, and Kingston was able to get those titles and ensure that the New Day remain your SmackDown Tag Team Champs. And again, could you really get massively invested in this beforehand? No, because we've seen it so many times, like I've already mentioned. But on the night and in context, it was good stuff. As was Buddy Murphy versus Aleister Black. I'm very glad that Buddy Murphy knocked on Aleister Black's door. It was just so damn hard hitting to the point Aleister Black's nose, I'm pretty sure, was busted open and broken. I mean, the commentators then decided to pretend that it was Aleister Black's jaw, but whatever, it still made for an incredible visual. And even though that had happened to his face, there was still a moment when Black was in the corner and Buddy Murphy was just hitting him with super kicks. I mean, that would bother you anyway. But if you have broken bones, I'd be like, "Buddy, would you calm down?" And be like, "Nah, mate, I'm coming. That's what we had planned in the back." Still, brutal. That was kind of the deal here too, because Buddy would take most of this match until Aleister kind of fought back with a little bit of a flurry, but then he'd get cut off again. But what I think the plan is, the direction I believe we're going is that the Black Mass could become like a new version of the RKO, because from nowhere, you know what was around here, done from nowhere, he smashed it right into Buddy Murphy's cheek. Down he went. 1, 2, 3. And because it looked so devastating, he didn't go, "Well, that was a stupid way to finish." You're like, man, if you face Aleister Black, you've got to make sure you're ducking and diving to get out of the way of that kick. I mean, he went down like a ton of bricks, and because of that, it didn't really feel like Buddy Murphy lost. Just got caught with a shot. We see that in real fighting all the time. This was very clever. This was very well thought out in WWE. If you want to keep doing this feud, please do, I'd be alright for them to go best of 7. Rusev promo afterwards, he hates his life and he's not going to pay any alimony because he doesn't want to, and he's going to kick Bobby Lashley's ass later. Yeah, right. And then we hit the wall. WWE was doing so well, but then we had the Viking Raiders taking on some mystery opponents for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Down. The first problem was the choice of surprise. We have talked about this time and time again here on Ups and Downs, but if you are going to have a mystery, you better pay that mystery off, because fans will let their imaginations run wild, as they should. Who on earth could it be? I mean, if it's a surprise and someone we don't know, it's not just going to be some people we see on Raw and SmackDown every week. But then it was just the OC, and I like the OC. I think Gallows and Anderson are great. They came out with their best, tag team champion trophy thing, whatever the hell that is. You're just like, I don't need to see the OC versus the Viking Raiders. And if that's the match you want to do, WWE, just tell me beforehand, because it's boy who cried wolf. Next time you say, oh, it's a surprise, I'll be like, no, it's not. I'm not buying into it. You did it at Stomping Grounds too, when the special guest referee between Baron Corbin and Seth Rollins was Lacey Evans. That was kind of an interesting spin, but you're still like, oh, it's Lacey Evans, the Southern Belle. Like, I see her all the time. Nobody's getting excited about that, and they definitely weren't either with the finish, because as always, WWE booked a match and they wrote their script and went, oh, we don't know who we want to win, so we'll just have a double countdown. So they were brawling, the ref counted them out, even though later on people were out the ring for longer than 10, but they didn't get counted out. Somebody write the damn official rules and I'll read them. The crowd booed, and it soon became obvious that maybe this was just done because it was a commercial for Kentucky Fried Chicken, because a bunch of fans were sitting at a KFC-themed table. They'd won some prize, and they were eating, legs and thighs and all of that. But of course, as soon as they had been counted out, everybody got smashed through the table. Well, Gallows and Anderson got smashed through the table. And the only good thing about this was that one guy that just kept eating chicken. He was like, I don't care about this violence and carnage around me. I really, really, really want to eat my chicken. So fair play to that man. And if you wanted a KFC when TLC was done, you have been successfully manipulated. Honestly, this could have been cut from the pay-per-view, and today, nobody would have cared. And I think the same could sadly be said about Baron Corbin versus Roman Reigns. I mean, it went too long. I have no idea why it was a TLC match, because we didn't really buy into that stip at all. Down. Beforehand, we did get a promo with The Miz, and despite the fact he told us he'd moved his family to a secret location to protect them from the crazy Bray Wyatt, he'd still gone and got a tan, and he was still wearing his weird curtain coat, so you've got to balance your life out, I guess, priorities. And then, it was Roman versus Baron, and it was just there. It didn't really get anybody super excited. The audience didn't seem to give two hoots, and I sat here on my sofa going, you know what? I could skip this and I don't think I'd care. Why wasn't this just called a no DQ match? And I know because the pay-per-view's called TLC, but I'm not a jabroni. I can figure these things out. And by the time Baron Corbin was hitting Roman Reigns with a kendo stick and Roman Reigns was hitting Baron Corbin with a kendo stick, I was like, I've seen this because I had. In fact, that was a problem with the entire evening. We saw so many kendo sticks and chair shots and people going through tables that when we were told, oh, you better get excited about this one, you're like, but I can't. It's the law of diminishing returns. My word, do I run that into the ground. But I've already seen 62 people go through a table or hit by a kendo stick, and then I see the 63rd, I'm like, yeah, I know. I've been through this already. It got even worse when Baron Corbin hit Roman Reigns in the head with a can of dog food. Now, Corey Graves went out of his way to tell us, well, that's a full can of dog food, as if we're meant to know about, if you have 50% of dog food, that doesn't hurt as much as 100% dog food. But it's about balance too, because I've already seen people, like I say, get hit with real weapons, and then somebody went down and they got hit with some dog food. Also, Roman Reigns is not a dog. We've got to move past it. The ending too, my word. It turns out if you do want to beat Roman Reigns at the end of 2019, you need to make sure you have 52,172 buddies to do it, because the Revival are out there. Dolph Ziggler, he came from under the ring and took his shirt off. That was a bit strange. And all the, royal peasants, whatever they're called, of Baron Corbin's entourage, everyone just beat up Roman Reigns until Baron Corbin gave him the end of days onto a chair after Dolph Ziggles had chucked a chair right into his face. And Baron Corbin won and Roman Reigns lost. Also, I thought Roman Reigns went to be the locker room leader and we all look up to him. Look, I'm doing it visually. Why did nobody come out to help him? Why doesn't he have any mates? When this was done too, I honestly thought I'd gone through 2 birthdays, because it never, ever, ever finished. And I guess when we get to SmackDown, because this feud ain't over, I'll explain more in a minute. When we get to SmackDown, someone is probably going to literally become a dog. That's the only next step I can see. Maybe Baron Corbin, he meets a magical man, and he goes, if you give me 7, magical beans, I'll do whatever you want. He goes, I want to be the big dog. But then the guy takes that literally, and he turns him into a dog. And that's how we end the year. Baron Corbin being a dog. Roman Reigns can laugh and go, ha ha ha, I win this one, Baron. actually better than what they did. And then, my friends, on the last WWE pay-per-view of the decade, we broke a record. Because I think I'm being serious about this, probably just reacting to the situation. But the entrance of Bray Wyatt, who is a World Heavyweight Champion, is my favourite entrance of somebody who is World Heavyweight Champion ever. And I laughed so much, and I got such a kick out of it, and it entertained me to such a degree, it doesn't just get an up, it gets a golden up. Honestly, please just go and watch this to understand the genius of Bray Wyatt. He came out here with a smile etched on his face that was so big, it was like a kid who had been told it's Sunday and you can go and eat ice cream for the entire day. He skipped, he hugged, he played up to the fans, he held up that championship like, you know, it was the most important thing to him in his entire life. All the while Miz looked at him going, I really don't like you. It was a bizarre twist because this was a man that had been tormenting somebody else's family, and yet I felt sympathy for him and I wanted him to win. As did the live crowd, they were all chanting yowie wowie. This was true from a character and presentation standpoint too, because as Bray Wyatt, you know, the kids presenter of the Firefly Funhouse, he didn't really attack The Miz, he didn't really beat up The Miz, but every now and then he snapped and you saw that evilness in his eyes. On the flip side to this though, we have to look at it from The Miz's point of view, as we've already talked about. This was a guy whose family had been tormented and he had to move into the safe house and he had to leave SmackDown and he was scared and pictures were just, you know, manipulating themselves and Bray Wyatt was in them. And yet he didn't really attack Bray Wyatt, he didn't really beat him down. He kind of took his time and he's a bit methodical about things. You're like, that doesn't make any sense. If somebody had come after my family and then I'd been put in a ring and said, you can beat him up now, I would have run wild, and he just didn't. That's when I started to realize that once again, The Miz was only being used as a conduit, much like he did back at WrestleMania when Shane McMahon beat him too. This wasn't about The Miz, this wasn't about the A-lister, this was just about getting from point A to point B, which is why, you know, after two Sister Abigails, and admittedly one was on the outside, but after two Sister Abigails, The Miz lost, and he looked like an absolute chump. So while I enjoyed the narrative and the arc and all the little things we did, from a match point of view, it was just long-winded and awkward. Down. We were going somewhere, and that was a major return, and you know who it was. As The Fiend appeared on the big screen, and Bray Wyatt then went out of the ring to get that stupid giant hammer, which I will go into in just 1 second. A hooded man appeared in the ring. He gave Wyatt the running knee, only to reveal that it was Daniel Bryan with his brand new haircut. And I will say this, I can't take advantage of it, but if you are looking for a good barber, I would go to The Fiend. He did a really good job. He absolutely smashed the crap out of his now nemesis, and I absolutely love what is going on here. Because let's go through what has happened over the last few months. Bray Wyatt, or The Fiend, took on Finn Balor and he became Prince Devitt. He then took on Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins went back to being the old asshole Seth Rollins. And now Daniel Bryan has gone back and become the American Dragon. Like, it's just so well thought out and it has so much depth. Right, that hammer, because fortunately we couldn't get out of the woods without somebody saying something stupid. When Bray did bring out that giant mallet, Michael Cole and Corey Graves acted like they had never seen it before in their life. Dudes, my word, you saw it at Hell in a Cell. It was a huge part of the ending. Don't make me feel like a moron, because I remember everything like the wrestling geek I am. Give me a little bit, give me something. Don't tie me up with a leash. I know you're obsessed with dogs, but don't do it. This would be like me coming on here and like rubbing my head and going, what the hell? I'm bald every single time. You'd be in the comments going, yes, Simon, you're bald. You know you're bald. You wake up every day and see yourself in the mirror. Stop pretending you don't know. What am I even doing now? It's just so stupid. All right, calm down, breathe. Let's talk about Bobby Lashley versus Rusev in the tables match, which was also stupid. Again, at this point, we had seen so many people go through tables down. And they tried hard, they really did, and I respected them so much, but they were never going to get over this crowd who knew they had one final TLC match to come and had already seen a bunch of violence up to this point. I also haven't really been invested in this from start to finish, and seeing Bobby Lashley just whoop Rusev's ass for most of this confused me again, because like the Miz situation, Ruru should have come out the blocks here like a man possessed. Bobby Lashley and Lana have essentially ruined his life. Anyway, the finish was Lana jumping onto Rusev's back, and that distracted him so much that Lashley speared him through the table. Although that table didn't break, so he just picked him up and he suplexed him through another one. Now let's give credit to Bobby Lashley, because that looked like a bit of a botch. If he thought that quickly, oh, I can just chuck him through the other one, fair play to him. He thought really quick on his feet. But yeah, the other thing is, of course, this means Bobby Lashley versus Rusev has to keep going on. Lana was like cackling at the end of it going, I'm in here. I don't know, man. It's just not working for me. If you enjoyed it, I really respect that, and I'm glad that, you know, you're getting something out of it. I'm not. It wasn't ideal either, because we'd already seen Baron Corbin win, and Bobby was doing it. I could have done with a little bit of respite, because now I come out of TLC going, well, I guess I should go and bang other people's wives. I guess I should cover people in dog food, because when push to the shove, they've got the women, they've got the friends, they've got the championships, everything's going all right for them, and our good guys, well, they ain't getting nothing. I have no idea what happened afterwards. When we cut backstage and the Street Profits were doing their usual promo, all of a sudden, a massive brawl broke out, and there was Baron Corbin, and there was Roman Reigns, there was Dolph Ziggler, and there was the Revival, and the Street Profits got involved. I don't know what this was, and on top of that, it ain't even done. I was pleased that the main event was the Kabuki Warriors versus Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, and I was pleased that the Kabuki Warriors were able to retain their titles, and I was pleased that WWE gave all four of these ladies a lot of damn time. The extra cool thing is that, again, this was the last WWE pay-per-view of the decade, and it was main evented by four talented women. Because if you go back to 2010, and the first pay-per-view of that year was Michelle McCool versus somebody, and it went around 10 seconds. So we have progressed and we have moved forwards as we should have done. If I am being honest, it didn't really flow as well as I probably would have expected. And, you know, just a bit all over the place here and there, mostly because at one point, Kairi Sane definitely got knocked out by something. She was all wibbly wobbly, so I hope she's okay. But I don't think we can look past some of the crazy bumps we saw here. I mean, both Kairi and Charlotte got powerbombed through tables as if they were being sent to hell. And when Becky Lynch climbed the ladder to get the titles, Asuka had tied a bull rope around said ladder and just pulled her off. It did not look very comfortable. The Warriors were obsessed with ropes during this match too, because earlier on they had just tied Becky Lynch to a ladder. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I mean, I have, and I've just forgotten, but I thought it was quite genius. And, you know, took Becky Lynch out of the mat for a large portion. Naturally, when she could, Charlotte did save her, and I still find that so perplexing and so confusing. Because you know, sooner or later, we're going to get Lynch versus Charlotte once more, and I'm going to have to remember at the time, she basically saved her from the train tracks. We did get the right result, though, which was Asuka climbing to the top and reclaiming her titles. But what the hell was WWE thinking? I mean, as soon as she had done that and went to celebrate, the camera cut to the R-Way, and that brawl that I was talking about earlier had now spilled out into the arena. I thought that was so insulting. These four wrestlers had just tried to kill themselves, and they weren't even given a moment to go, all right. It just stole their thunder, and more so, I didn't know what was happening, so that's getting it down. Don't get me wrong, it did end with Roman spearing Baron Corbin off one of the levels of the venue onto a bunch of dudes that were waiting for them, and that looked absolutely spectacular. Because I was in wrestling nerd mode, I was like, why didn't we do that in their match? That was a far more spectacular spot than anything they'd actually done. Don't forget, we saw a man get hit by dog food, and that would have made that match better. What a strange ending. I mean, it's going to tie into television, of course, but boy, howdy, did it leave me baffled. To the point I just look over here with a vacant stare on my face. It also upset me because it means we are going to continue with Reigns versus Corbin, and I just want that to be done. So when we do get our spinning arrow, this is very difficult, but I think actually, if you look at it from percentages, the first half of the pay-per-view, or the first chunk of it, was really good, and it kind of went down, then it peaked a bit with Bray Wyatt, that was good, and then it kind of fell down further. So very sadly, the last pay-per-view of the decade, it is going to get it down, which does suck because I was entertained, but it was the ending, right? Sometimes it's not about the destination, it is about the journey. And seeing the Kabuki Warriors and Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch just like crapped all over, you know, big dog, I was like, that's just so unfair. I like the fact the heels won, let them stand tall, let them celebrate, let me get mad at them. Not allowed to do it. Yeah, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's TLC 2019. I will reiterate, I enjoyed it. I'm just putting my critical hat on. Like, share, and subscribe. Head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles, follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE. Watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon from WhatCulture, and while we do have a lot of ups and downs still to come in 2019, as it is the last WWE pay-per-view, I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for still being here after another awesome year, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in 2020. You make my heart sing. I'll be with you as long as you're here with me.